Hello everyone, today I am finally going to be giving you my updated opinions on Ariana Grande's Eternal Sunshine album. So whenever the album first released a few weeks ago, I did give my reaction on it, so I have a card on the screen right here if you guys want to see my initial thoughts on it and everything before you watch this video. But yeah, let's just get into it. The first track is Intro, End of the World. I think that this is a gorgeous moment and I really appreciated her vocals, and the lyrical sentiments on here are interesting. If the sun refused to shine, would I still be your lover? You know, are you still going to choose me? And then talk about I had experience with someone else that I'm still thinking about, and kind of just dissecting your relationship to each other, what that means, how it's progressing, and ultimately why it needs to come to an end because of all those things. And so I think it's really interesting in terms of the subject matter alone. I love the instrumentation. I think this song is underrated. I feel like whenever people talk about top 3, this song don't get brought up enough, but this is definitely in my top 3. I love the vocal layering, especially in that part whenever she says, wondering if he's judging me like I am right now, I don't care, and the way that that kicks in. I've rewinded that part so many times just listening to the song. I'm like, I have to hear it again, I have to hear it again, I have to hear it again. About the song, she says, it asks a question that sort of takes accountability and is self-aware, and then going into Bye is like prefacing it. Now on to track 2, Bye. I think that this is a great disco pop song. I really enjoyed listening to it, especially that pre-chorus that hits harder every single time. I really like the bridge on here as well. She's saying this is hard to sing, but it's hard to repeat. I guess she means kind of to go over that cycle again, or maybe even to sing again because it was so painful for her in that respect. This one is just about saying goodbye to a relationship. I can appreciate on the album. I feel like it's really relatable. Now on to track 3, Don't Want to Break Up Again. So I think that she ate this one up. It was interesting with the lyrics, especially her saying the situationship has to end. And as people said, referring to your marriage as a situationship is crazy, but I'm sure that that's kind of what it devolved to at the end and everything. A lot of emotional repression and things like that. And then even she's saying, I spent so much on therapy. You didn't even try. When you finally did, it was at the wrong time. Even on this song and Bye, she's like, I thought you wouldn't lose me, but you did. Like, it is what it is. I really like it. And she's saying, I'm gonna have to do what I don't want to do, and we're gonna have to break up because I cannot continue to kind of go through this emotionally and everything. Even in the beginning, she's like, you can hear me crying, but you're turning up the TV. Like, you just don't want to deal with it. So it's kind of the breakdown of the marriage in that sense. And I really enjoy it. I think it's a great listen overall. I think it's catchy. So lyrically, I can appreciate it a lot. I love the vocals in here, especially like the backgrounds and everything, but the leads are great too. One thing about Ariana, she's gonna have great vocals on an album. I like the production on here, and the bridge, I feel like really takes it to another level. And like I said in my reaction video, I'm just glad that she's doing bridges again because she almost never does one. I just got so used to her not doing it. So whenever she adds it in, I feel like it takes the song to another level, and definitely one of my favorite parts of this album. About the song, she says, don't want to break up again. It's kind of like the hangover of Bye in a way. Like, this has happened, but I'm reflecting. There's so many polarizing feelings that we experience as human beings with regards to one situation. And that's what I like about these two being back to back. Because in Bye, I say, at least we know we tried, didn't we? The two of us. We did good. And then in Don't Want to Break Up Again, it's like you didn't even try till the end. Both feelings exist at different times. And I like the humanness of that. I like that they are layered and complicated, and all the different emotions that come with loving and leaving. Kind of showcase, I guess. Now onto track 4, Saturn Returns interlude. I can appreciate it for what it was, and you know, in context of the album, I think it makes sense and everything. And someone pointed out how in Rem she's saying, I don't want to wake up, and then in this song it's saying wake up. So kind of the parallels from there, both of them being track 4 on the album. So I think it's really interesting in that respect, and I'm into astrology, so I mean, I like it for what it is. I appreciate this as a transition song, and it always plays like right when I'm in the middle of doing something, so it's kind of good because it's like I'm not really missing some of my favorite songs on the album, if that makes sense. So I appreciate that and its placement in the album, I will say, and I like the transition into the next song. Now onto track 5, Eternal Sunshine. So I think this is a great title track. I still stand by it's not one of her best title tracks. You know, My Everything the song is taking your spot, Positions is taking your spot, but you know, I like the song whenever I first heard it, and listening to the album more, I feel like it's grown on me. I think there's something that kind of feels lighthearted about the song, even though it really isn't like the juxtaposition of those lyrics, because whenever she said, now it's like I'm looking in the mirror, hope you feel that when you're in her, that is still a crazy lyric. Still kind of takes me out a little bit every single time. Now we play our separate scenes and just talking about that. I think it's really interesting in terms of the lyric, and it's kind of like a palate cleanser, so I do appreciate it a lot actually. About the song and movie, Ariana says, I've always loved that movie since I was a little girl. I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan, and I always have been, and I was always sort of attracted to the idea of writing a song around that. But once I realized that the rest of the songs were kind of forming a story that, well, kind of similar to Eternal Sunshine, whereas this cycle that everyone's trying to break, it just fell into place. And in regards to the movie, some people say like, oh, if you watch the movie, you understand the album more. I did not watch the movie, and I'm sure that it's probably not necessary because that's what a lot of my friends were saying. They're like, you know, the movie was good, but you don't necessarily need it. Even watching the movie, it kind of colored their thoughts on the album, and I thought that it'd be different based off of seeing the movie. If you did watch it, let me know what you think down in the comments, but for me, I just didn't really feel like it was necessary, and I heard everyone's summaries anyway, so I kind of got what the gist was. Now on to track 6, Supernatural. So this is still my favorite song on the album. I just think it's pop perfection. You got Ariana, you got Max Martin, you can't really go wrong with that. I think it's infectious to listen to. I love it, especially I think it's that one part of the bridge, and then the vocals, the way that she goes up with that, so satisfying to listen to. The song is just like an instant dopamine hit every single time that it comes on. I love it. Great writing, very catchy. I hope that this is a single. If this is not a single, I'm gonna scream. I really am, because we deserve that moment. Now on to track 7, True Story. Like I said before, the song really reminds me of Leave Me Lonely from the Dangerous Woman album. I like this song for what it is. As people mentioned, probably her biggest vocal moment on this entire album. I think that this song is overrated though. I don't know why people keep talking about, oh, so this is top 3 in the album. No, it's not. It's not even top 5. It's not even top 5. You know, it's good for what it is, but y'all doing a little bit too much in the song. For the life of me, I'll never understand it. I'll put on the screen what she said about the song if you guys want to learn a little bit more, because it's kind of a longer blurb and everything. Now to track 8, The Boy Is Mine. This is top 2 in the album, and on certain days it might be top 1. Oh, she ate with this one. Super catchy, excellent songwriting. I especially love going into the chorus how they slow down The Boy Is Mine. They ate that. What a great choice in terms of the vocal over here. Her vocals on here are excellent as well. I like the songwriting on here a whole lot. This song is very much a sister song to Break Up With Your Girlfriend and Board off Thank You Next, which was always one of my favorites on the album. This song is a lot better than Fantasize. I remember whenever I listened to this album and I said that I would have liked Fantasize to be on the album, just in general, not in place of this or anything like that. But then I was like, you know what, let me go listen to Fantasize in its entirety, see what it's giving. Ariana was right here. Fantasize did not need to be on the album, no shade, you know, it's a good song, but this is a lot better. So I'm glad that this was her version of Fantasize and that we actually got it. It really would have been interesting to see how it would have performed on the charts if it was officially released though, because when it got leaked, everyone was going up for it. Bridge on here, top 5 moments on the entire album. I Fear, a career highlight, a moment, 10s across the board. The song is getting so much praise for a reason, and this needs to be a single with Supernatural. I really hope that she does it. This one made a lot of splash as a second single. I can get why she didn't do it, but what a moment this would have been. And I hope that we get a music video for this soon, because I really want to see like what her creative vision is for that. But yeah, this song is for the girls. I'm sorry she ate. About the song, she says that's gonna be everyone's favorite. Unfortunately, I think it's naughty. It's the version of Fantasize that they wanted to have. It's like a sexier, naughtier one, and I think it's more provocative than the rest. But it's not about what you think it was about, and it's also a song that I've always wanted to interpolate. Is that what the kids are calling it now? I have like many different versions of that from many years ago, but this is not that, honestly. Just the title is an interpolation. I'm such a 90s baby. I have so many 90s interpolation ideas, samples in my brain, but this one finally found a home. I wanted it to come after True Story on a track list because that song plainly says, I'll play the bad girl if you need me to. Now on to track 9, Yes and a Bop. You know, I liked this one whenever I first heard it. A lot of her fans did not go for it. I can't tell you how many hate tweets, hate TikToks that I saw. But you know, I knew real from the beginning. I did. And as I said before on my TikTok page, this is like the ultimate I don't give a fuck anthem. Up to her eyes in controversy. And she said, yes and. My face is sitting, I don't need no disguise. Like, why do you care who I write? Like, she do not care. And in a sense, I have to respect it. I have to respect it. And this was the perfect lead single for her to do, because that's what everyone's gonna be talking about anyways. So yeah, let me give my moment and say yes and. Like, I'm still gonna keep living. I'm still gonna keep doing me. You like me, great. You don't, you don't. And so in that respect, she ate. She did something for the girls. You know, I love the video for it. With all that being said, as I mentioned before, the remix is so much better. Whenever I did my reaction video listening to this album and then I heard the original again, it was like that meme of that woman trying to eat the olive or whatever and just like being so disgusted. Like, that's how I felt. I just feel like Mariah added so much to it with the whistle harmonies, the regular harmonies, all the ad-libs. Like, Mariah is going to kill it. And she just filled out the song so much with the gaps that Ariana left vocally. Because as people said, and I would agree with, this song was not the vocal showcase that a lot of us expected based off of her previous lead singles and just her songs in general. So Mariah really filled it out. Yeah, a lot of Ariana fans were being nasty after this, you know, was announced it was going to be released, talking about why Mariah da-da-da-da. And it's like, you guys don't do your research, because Mariah been doing house music since the 90s and having excellent, you know, remixes and moments there. And it's Mariah Carey. If Mariah Carey did not exist, then Ariana Grande would not be the singer that she is. Ariana said that, you know, Mariah is my main vocal inspiration and all those things. And Zach Sane annoyed me too, because he was like, oh really? Like, she hasn't been saying that since debut. And then too, whenever he was like, oh, did you write her verse? Do you not research Mariah Carey at all? Do you not research famous people at all? Mariah famously writes her music. That felt very disrespectful. Felt like he was gonna get a couple jabs at Mariah, and I did not like that at all. Didn't sit right with my spirit. So a lot of y'all were being nasty towards that and how y'all talk about the remix and all that stuff too. I didn't forget. Some of y'all didn't even like the original, and y'all were streaming that out of spite. If you don't like the remix, it is what it is. I'm gonna disagree with you, but the way some of y'all were moving, it was questionable. It was questionable. I do have to say that, but you know, I'm one of the few people who got the remix. Now to track 10, We Can't Be Friends, Wait for Your Love. I think that this is a great song. I really like the bridge particularly, and someone pointed out how she's saying, don't like how you paint me, and then in my head she was saying, painted a picture, I thought I knew you well. So it's interesting parallel there. Sorry about the change in lighting and stuff like that. I can't control that, and it's very frustrating, but I just wanted to address that because it's happening all the way throughout this video. And I feel like I've been appreciating this one more with each listen. Do I think that it should have been the second single? No, and I still stand on that. You know, she's had better second singles, and it just doesn't get single material to me. And a lot of people talk about oh, this song is smashing and blah blah blah. I just feel like whatever song she would have put as a second single would have done similar numbers to this, because you're actively promoting it, you're putting it on radio, you're performing it. So, and that's no shade to the song, I do like it, but I still don't really get it as a second single, especially after hearing the rest of the album when you had songs like Supernatural and The Boy's Mind Waiting. With all that being said, I think that the video is great and I'm appreciating it more because it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Yes, I had all these great moments with you and it's like I want to forget that and everything. There is a universe in a sense where we haven't met. What is that like? You take all the highs out, but you also take out all the pain. So that concept of the video was really interesting to me and I feel like it was ambitious in that sense. Really quickly, I want to say sorry for any background noise. Someone is mowing the lawn, so I want to say that. But in terms of the subject matter, kind of going back to that again, I saw some people say that they think that this is her kind of talking about the media, how they talked about her in the past and everything. And it certainly could be. I think it's mainly about the divorce though and everything. And so it's really interesting to view it from multiple perspectives. I will say that. I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. About the song, she says, "They make me really emotional. Those strings, I love those strings. Wanted it to be something that everyone could relate to. It can be whoever you want it to be about, but I know for me what it's about. I have a hard time going into specifics because I feel like that's not the point of it. The point is to leave it up for people to make of it what they will." About the music video, Ariana says, "The video is our own short version of the Eternal Sunshine movie because we felt like that was the perfect thing, but this ending is quite different. Both of the characters end up discontinuing the cycle, their own toxic pattern, and they end up with different people. So it's just kind of about erasing the pain and only wanting the best for someone, even if it means not each other." Now on to track 11, I Wish I Hated You. Definitely an emotional one for sure. If you listen to it, you can kind of hear her voice breaking at certain parts. I'm sure this is very hard for her to even record. Kind of like ghosting in that sense, and I'm just glad that we got it. But you know, basically, yeah, as I was saying before, it's a lot more complicated whenever you're sad about something or when you don't hate the person at all. So she's kind of tackling that on this song. And I love the part whenever she says so close and yet so far, and like the vocal layering there. Definitely an important piece on the album and the most personal I think she gets on the album. About the song, she says, "Probably was crying in a part of the song. It's one of those that I'm so glad that feeling is captured on this album, but it's one that I won't listen to probably or sing live probably. But it's a very important color to exist within the album because it's an important piece of the puzzle for me. I'm happy to acknowledge the goodness, I really am, and the efforts, and that it just was not correct, and I don't need to pretend that you're a monster to make peace with this ending." That's what that song is, and it would be easier if you were, but it can have not been right, and that person can still be a good person. I think that's a really important song to write. I think it completed the family breakup songs where I wrote from a more hurt or upset place, and it's from a more aware and grieved place where it's like, I can give credit and make peace with this and not carry that version of you that I had when I was upset. I don't need to carry that version, and grieving would be much easier if we hated a person. It's good riddance, but no, it's capturing the complexity of what happens if I don't. It's imperative, I think. It's protective as well. On to track 12, Imperfect for You. This is so Miley Cyrus coded. If she does a remix, Miley needs to get on it, I will say that. And it definitely has one of the best choruses on the album. So much fun to just listen along to and sing. And I like how she kind of changes her vocal inflection on the Imperfect for You line as well. And I love the instrumentation here, the chord progressions that she chooses. It's just really interesting to listen to. And this one's kind of just about appreciating the relationship while admitting that it wasn't good for either of us. It ultimately has to end. About the song, she says, "Perfect for You was the last song finished for the album, which is my favorite. I love it so much. I love it so much. I don't know why it's my favorite. I think sonically it is my favorite. It's very different for me. It's very trippy, Rubber Soul vibes. And I love the album by the Beatles, great pull. And that is my favorite music to listen to. And I don't think I ever explored it for myself. But it just felt really fun to lean into it. It made something super trippy, 60s organic feeling, just capturing that kind of thing." Now into the 13th and final track, Ordinary Things, featuring Nona. So this still is not in the upper echelon of her closing tracks, as I already discussed. I get why she wanted to be a closer because, you know, you don't want to end on a sad note, and I'm sure that she's done a lot of emotional healing since the divorce and everything like that. So, you know, I appreciate it for what it is. It's kind of light. And my favorite lyrics whenever she says, "You hit just like the first sip of wine after a long day. You hit like my biggest fan when I hear what the critiques say. You hit just like a green light when I'm stuck running real late. I don't need no diamonds, just your time." I want to share my thoughts on the slightly deluxe tracks that she put out. So first up, we had the Supernatural remix featuring Troye Sivan. I don't think he added much to the song. I don't think it needed a remix. Why mess with perfection? It wasn't really for me. Then Imperfect for You acoustic. You know, I liked hearing it stripped back, but I like the album version a little bit better with the production, so I'm taking the album version. Then we had True Story acapella. It's just something I'm gonna listen to once and go, and that's exactly what happened. No shade. As I said with Yes and Remix, I love it. It's the only deluxe track I'm keeping. As of now, it's my most streamed song of this year, and it might stay that way and everything, and no complaints. Now on to my overall thoughts on this album. I think this album is a good 7.5, 8 out of 10, and that's what I said originally, and I'm standing on it. I think there's a lot to like about this album. There's no skips on this album for me as of right now, and I don't know why people expected an album full of songs like Ghostin' from her. I feel like a lot of people need that to be like, Ariana has finally top sweetener, she's made her magnum opus, or Thank You Next, or whatever they think her best album is. And honestly, I think that's silly because Ariana's not that kind of artist. She has moments of introspection on her albums, but a lot of it is just fun, light pop music, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think people kind of want Ariana to be a different artist than she actually is. Am I saying I wouldn't like an album of that? Of course not. Of course I would. I just don't think she's gonna give that to us, and that's fine. I mean, she's been through a lot in whatever way she wants to choose to express what she's been through. I'm fine with that, and I feel like she definitely talked about the divorce in a way that she felt comfortable with. And I feel like Ariana's underrated as a songwriter. I'll do a little bit too much on her. She's one of the best ever? No, but I think she's pretty good, and the way that she writes works for her music. Her stuff is really catchy, so I will say that. Was Victoria Monet missed on this album? I would say yes. You know, I would have liked to hear her on a song or two, but I can get why she wasn't. You know, she probably is busy with her own solo career. I love her music. Ariana maybe just wanted to do this for herself. It's a very personal, you know, kind of moment in terms of lyrics and everything that she's touching on. So maybe that's why it didn't happen, but I still love their work together. And it's kind of nice to see Ariana take on a lot of her lyrics herself as well. I will say I'm glad that we got it now instead of having to wait till 2027. I don't know why she thought she would take 7 years off. Like, I know we have Wicked and everything, but the soundtrack's not equivalent to a studio album, and 7 years off for anybody is a really long time, so I'm glad we got it now. Okay, so my camera is not really focusing the best, but I need to finish this video. I'm gonna try to fix this in post-production, but if it doesn't work, I apologize, but I want to finish this video. A few more notes I have on this album. I think the enunciation is a lot better on this album than her past albums. It's a lot easier to tell what she's saying, so I appreciated that. I think this album was great with headphones and necessary with headphones, honestly. Like, I like listening to the album, you know, out loud with no headphones, but I think you can appreciate more the vocals and what she's doing there. And I will say, I don't understand why she tried to say that this is the most she's ever done vocally in an album. Get Well Soon on Sweetener Enough has more vocals in this entire album, and there's no shade because I like the album, but it's not as vocally ambitious as Sweetener or her past albums. I love there's only one feature on here as well, and that is 13 songs. It's very succinct, it's short, it doesn't overstay its welcome, which I really love in a day where we're releasing 20 songs on albums that don't really merit it. Not every album can be Cowboy Carter, I'm sorry. A lot of y'all albums are trash and y'all need to narrow it down. Beyonce is one of the few artists that's the exception to that rule. And another thing is I'm really glad that it's not heavy on the trap. I said this 1,000 times before, but I really did not need her to be heavy on the trap. I wanted her to move on. I wanted her to have different producers. And Max Martin's tried and true, so I don't really mind his inclusion on the album, and he did most of the album. But yeah, I'm glad she let the trap go because it was time. It was getting very dated. In terms of where I'd rank this album in her discography, I'm confident in putting it at number 2. Sweetener will probably always be my number 1. The vocal layering, the songwriting, and just me appreciating it over time, Sweetener will probably always be my number 1. So kind of a pop bible to me. But I think it sits comfortably at number 2. You know, I think it's gonna age well for me. I see it having a lot of replay value. I love Positions. Position probably has higher highs than this album does, but I like that this album is a little bit shorter, and I think I just appreciate it more. You know, there's no skips on this album like I kind of have with Position, so that's why it's gonna be at number 2 for me. I want to know what you guys think. Are you liking this album? If so, let me know what your favorite albums are, because I feel like people who love Sweetener Positions are liking this album more than people who like Thank You Next and Dangerous Woman. Like, there always is that divide in the fan base, right? So we definitely have to talk about that and stuff as well. Ariana understands how to give music for the girls, how to write, how to sing. I appreciate her production. Shout out to everyone involved in this album. It was a treat. It was nice to take a couple weeks to sit with it. Sorry for this video being a little bit more delayed than I would have liked. I wanted to do it last week, but other stuff came up, and then Cowboy Carter, that reaction had to happen and everything. So yeah, but you know, it was good to finally get this recorded today and talk about my thoughts on this album. If you guys want to see more videos on Ariana Grande, I have a card on the screen right here to where you guys can go to. It'll be at the end of this video and link down in the description, including my Eternal Sunshine album reaction and all the other times I talked about her music. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments on this album. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What is your favorite track? All those things. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, give it a like down below. It helps me out a lot in YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Hit the bell if you want to get a notification when I post. You know, I miss new videos come out. First link down below in the description will be my second channel, and so you guys can check me out on there. I did a video on there recently talking about Sweetener versus Thank You Next, so let me know what you guys think there, which one you're picking in the matchup. A lot of it is repurposed TikToks, but not all. If you want to see everything I post on TikTok, you can follow me. I have 2 accounts linked down below in the description. I also post other stuff as well, like I do concert reviews. I just did a vinyl unboxing of Beyonce Cowboy Carter, so follow me on there. It's a lot of fun. Thank you for 600 subscribers on there. I really appreciate it. You guys can also check me out on my Twitter accounts, active on there every single day, Instagram, TikTok. As I already mentioned, I have an Airbuds account, so if you want to see what I'm listening to all the time, you can follow me, as well as links to educate you guys on important situations. Free Palestine, it's a very important cause. We must educate ourselves, and ultimately, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.